In a previous video, I mentioned the framed picture hanging on the wall back here of our basset hound we used to have. Now here's a close-up picture of her so you can get a little better look at her. She was also much younger here than in the one back there behind me. But don't you just have to love this particular breed of dog with their long floppy ears and their big feet. Dorothy was actually given to our family. Otherwise, we probably couldn't have afforded her because she was a full-blooded, registered basset hound. Now, we received a copy of her family tree showing her pedigree. I think she was named Dorothy, at least partly because she was from Kansas. Probably given that name by someone like me who is a fan of the movie The Wizard of Oz. And by the way, if I moved the camera over that way, you would see on my wall over here a framed movie poster of that particular film attesting to that fact. I guess it's important for some people to be able to look through the family history of their pets and not see any evidence of any kind of impurity. I suppose that's especially true of breeders, which is understandable. They like to see that the genealogical history of their canine includes nothing but pure basset hounds or whatever their particular breed may be. No so-called mutts having sneaked into the family anywhere. I'm glad, though, that God doesn't put a whole lot of stock into that idea. I mean, just look at Jesus' family tree, which is recorded for us in Matthew chapter 1. Not only does it include some Jews who did some rather shameful things, but it includes some Gentiles, people like Tamar and Rahab and Ruth. I don't believe these Gentiles just accidentally sneaked into God's plan and into Jesus' genealogical record. I believe that through them being included, God was showing the Jews his acceptance of the Gentiles and the fact that Christ could be their Savior too. And he was showing all of us how he will accept and use anyone who will trust him. And that should comfort us. I mean, it does me. Sometimes we may think, well, who am I? Who am I for God to love me? Who am I to serve the Lord? What can I do with my background, my history, and my limited abilities? I'm not the ideal person to be doing this. Ask anybody. They wouldn't choose me. As I was thinking about this, I feel that way sometimes about doing these videos. There are plenty of people around, maybe even some of you who are watching this, who could do this much better than I could. Many of you would definitely look better on camera than I do. You could speak more eloquently, and some of you have better skills and equipment for creating a video. This is something new for me. But this reminds us that the Lord accepts all who come to him in faith. He chooses to use each of us in his service in some way. Whosoever will may come to God and find acceptance along with a life of purpose and service. We might say that in God's sight, there really aren't any mutts. He loves us all. We are all potential children of God and servants of the Lord. There's a song in some of the old hymnals that proclaims, "He included me." But isn't it amazing that you and I would be included as part of the family of God? Isn't it amazing that God would choose to love us and to save us and to use us to serve him? Let's rejoice in that fact today. And maybe you considered yourself to be someone that God wouldn't or couldn't choose, love, or use. But remember that you're no mutt in God's sight. Whosoever will may come to him. He has included you. You. Ask him to help you see and experience the life of purpose and service that he has for you.